I love being an entrepreneur and hosting this top 2.5% global show to bring you authentic talks with successful founders of companies and brands. My entrepreneurial journey started after I was left for dead. Let's learn the impactful journey of today's guest now.
But I've tried in small attempts, small exercises, and I figure out all the complexities, the incredible amount of difficulties. So when you see those monsters, any of them that start going global, it's mind-boggling to me.
We're bringing on an awesome entrepreneur as I'm diving back into recording. I did a ton of live streams earlier in the year, and now we're back with Jose. We're not going to learn just about his success, getting yearly revenues of 100 million or more, but we're going to learn how we got there and everything in between. So, Jose, thank you for joining me on your travel day.
Hey, Vincent, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you. Everyone, we're squeezing this in before his travels start. Where are you heading today, Jose?
I'm going to go visit the Grand Canyon with my kids. So it's summertime for them. And we have a lot of fun things planned for the summer. So they seem to think that I don't work. So or that I can just take off whenever. So we'll try to give them as much time as possible.
I love how you're emphasizing making time for family, and it takes those long hours, perhaps early and late at night, in order to do this with your kids. But everyone, welcome to That Entrepreneur Show. My name is Vincent A. Lancy. Thank you for tuning in and keeping this show a top 2.5% global show. We're bringing the expertise again right to your way. As a CEO and founder of Tricon Homes, he structured deals, invested in negotiated land acquisitions, and sales transactions over billions of dollars. Again, if you're looking forward to learning how to have these high revenues year after year, you are in the right place. Jose, when you were getting started finding your way many years ago, why did you want to be an entrepreneur?
Well, it happened very early on. It was one of those things. I was lucky enough to start young to realize what I wanted to do and to take advantage of youth, which is what all of us should do. Unfortunately, most young people think that your late teens, early 20s it's a time to have fun, but that's the ideal time really to start a business and try to figure out what you like and what you're good at. I wasn't clear on what I wanted to do, what kind of business I wanted to do. So I would just start taking any opportunity that would come my way. And I had a few. I was a busy young guy. I was going to college, and I started a business when I was going to college in the import export of machinery for the oil and gas. It just worked naturally. It made sense. I knew people. My family had been in that business, and I couldn't wait to jump into the world of entrepreneurship. It was what I wanted to do.
You knew you wanted to work for yourself, so you were taking opportunities, finding something that you like. Coincidentally, right, or not so coincidentally, it is parallel with the field you're in. You're building these homes. Are you also providing oil? What are you up to specifically now?
No, not anymore. And interesting. You mentioned that finding what I liked wasn't really the priority back then. I wasn't really focused. I don't think I really understood yet. Which I tell young people a lot. Don't worry if you don't really understand what it is that you like or what exactly are you good at. The important thing is to get started, and that's what I did. I didn't know that was gonna be my career for the rest of my life. As a matter of fact, my business didn't do well after a few years due to economic changes, and I had to start shifting and pivoting, adjusting, and finding other opportunities. But I was always concerned and proactive in thinking down the thinking of the future. And the moment something wasn't doing that well, I started dabbling in other things and talking to people and learning, always learning new businesses, or at least how to better run and manage a business. And little by little, I got into many, many other things. That's the interesting part, that before I got in real estate, I was involved in so many other things. There's a long list of companies that somehow I helped start, that I invested in, that I partner with, that I help friends structure and put together, and I ended up with a little percentage of the deal here and there. But eventually I ended up in real estate, and that's where I ended up spending the bulk of my time, the focus of my career for many years.
Well, you teased something just a few seconds ago where it got challenging for a little bit, right? Let's talk about navigating those lows. And of course, navigating the highs is a whole nother conversation. But I know you have a lot of value to add here, navigating these highs and lows.
Well, the highs are fun and they're short-lived. Unfortunately, for most entrepreneurs, which is something that I talk a lot about, we only hear about the success and the fun and the money and the great things about all of the people that try to express how great entrepreneurship and how easy it is to make money. But the reality is that it's not. Even when you get into a business that actually starts doing well and succeeding, then you have to deal with the growing pains and expanding and fighting the never-ending competition and the fluctuations and the cycles of the markets. So I've done well in different industries, and for one reason or another, something happened many times outside of my control, and to the point where I had to start all over. It was very, very painful, very difficult. Some say it's better to not ever have some success than to have it and then lose it. It's extremely depressing. You go through a very difficult process. And just to wrap it up, even those big failures that you experience in the business world, which I don't call them failures, I just call them part of the process, part of the learning curve of remaining in business. But even when you're running a company or a business that is moving forward, it's rarely in a consistent positive manner. It's back and forth, sort of like the waves of the ocean. Up until decades later, I still struggle with the ups and downs of our business. No matter how seasoned, how experienced you are, it still happens where you have to deal with those ups and downs.
I love it. What do you think it takes to be a truly successful entrepreneur? And these ups and downs, we have to weather the storm. What characteristics or what do you think it truly requires to be a successful entrepreneur beyond the buzzwords?
Yeah. The tolerance to pain, you have to really want it. You have to match two important things. I think the formula is relatively simple in my mind. You have to know what you want, mix it with combining it with how bad you want it. And then the third portion of this equation is, are you willing to put up with all of the hard work and the sacrifice and the reality of what it will take to build something? Well, very often we feel that we want to succeed. We think that we want to be better and do better, but we don't match that with our actions, with our sacrifices, with our schedules, with walking away from fun stuff and utilizing our spare time. So this is something that you either have it in you. The big word is just desire. Ambition is another one. And knowing that there is nothing else that you rather be doing and nothing else that you want more than what it is that you're trying to achieve. So you have to give it all.
And if you're not willing to give it all, chances are you might not be in the right place, right? You need to find something you're passionate about because, as he mentioned, the highs are great, but the lows, not so much. You will be battling not just external factors, but also internally when you find success and it goes up and down. I can certainly resonate with that. I want to now dive into something else that I know you can give great advice on. As you've grown your company, you've had to continue to grow your leadership styles. What are some pros and cons and the impact of staying deeply involved in your leadership?
Well, I think that every business is designed a little bit different depending on your industry, depending on what market you're in, and also depending on your personality, your exit strategy. Are you wanting to be in this business for the long term? Do you enjoy it, or are you trying to build it and pass it on and sell it? Or so I think one of them is planning your objective, which I didn't know a lot about this in the early years. I was always trying to build a business, but I was going the wrong way about it. I was building a world that revolved around me, and I had a very, very difficult time delegating and moving away from my day-to-day activities and letting go of the control of every little aspect of the business. It's something that a lot of entrepreneurs suffer from, because it is so hard to get things started and to start building something. Then when you start passing on all of these activities, it's scary. So you want to be involved in as many aspects and as many details. I've been a very, very hands-on, because it's been so difficult for me. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs where things just happen and I started making a bunch of money. And when I did, it was for short periods of time, small cycles where I did well. And I learned my lesson. I learned that, good periods end and bad periods also end. So you just have to manage these ups and downs and be frugal when you start making some money, so you can be ready for the bad ones. But little by little, you start getting better at understanding who within your team is qualified for you to delegate certain areas. It's something that comes with time and with some experience, and your willingness to start not only learning what your team is doing so that you can properly lead them. You have to know a little bit about each one of the activities within your company, or you can manage them. But eventually you have to let go if you really want to become more of a leader rather than a doer. And it's a difficult process.
I can certainly relate the challenges of finally letting go, where it starts with emails for me. And now Danica is truly amazing. Like, my entire team does a lot more than just checking my emails. And that was the needle mover for me. Once I did let go, I started to scale. I started to generate revenue, and a lot of things started to change for the better. I also liked how you touched on knowing every piece of the puzzle. In the beginning, you have to wear every hat, but eventually you find people who can complement you. And I've got a great team with different strengths, and I know who I can count on in which situations. So incredible advice there. I'd love to now ask for some more advice. If there's some early stage founders listening on, early entrepreneurs who you can remember the days, a million things to do, not knowing what to do first and everything in between, what's some advice you can give to a brand new founder today?
Yeah, and I'm writing a lot about that. I'm on my third book, Quantum Entrepreneurship, and I talk a lot about that, the baby steps, the beginning, the formation, how to structure not your company, your mind, your organizational skills, how to differentiate, for example, the list of things that you have to do today for your short-term goals without forgetting about exercising some activities that will help you move forward in the long term, and how not to spend an hour on a 5-minute problem, how to start managing your brain, your priorities, your team. And at first you nailed it. You don't have a budget to have a lot of people helping you. You have to sleep very little. You have to be very committed. You have to just be aware of how much there is to do. For many years, my day would start at 6 p.m. because all day, whatever I had originally intended to do or planned on doing would go out the window, with fires to put out, with emergencies, with phone calls, with emails, with texts, with this and that. Back then, thankfully, we didn't have email or text. It was just a bunch of things, other technologies, obviously. And now it's gotten more difficult because everybody's trying to reach you, and everybody expects immediate responses. So you have to have that ability to multiply yourself, to stay on task, but really to be able to understand that because you got busy putting out fires, doesn't take away the fact that you still have to get to many of those things that will allow you to get to your next phase, the next stage of your company. So you really, really have to put as many hours. Believe it or not, it's a contradiction, because a lot of people get into the entrepreneurial world thinking that this is the key to freedom and relaxation and owning your life and your schedule. And in the early stages is quite the opposite.
And I couldn't agree more. You should not expect to go out on social events all the time and go out on the weekends if this is your baby,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning. I love how now we have a team to help move things smoothly, where if I have a family emergency or I have something going on, nothing crumbles, right? It's still okay, where we have these systems built where I'm just a cog. It can run completely fine without me, and I'm very grateful. But over time, like you said before, it took time to build some of these things, finding the right teammates. Not every hire is the perfect hire, and you learn how to eventually tighten up some hiring practices where it's not about hire crazy, where I eventually did. I had to slim down and give the work to people who are 100% dedicated, who are the most efficient, and everything in between. Do you have any hiring tips you can give to our audience? Again, maybe for some early stage people just starting to hire out.
Yeah, take your time in hiring people, and don't take too much time allowing your team members to prove themselves. I've made that mistake where I invested many years of my life working on people within my team that really didn't want to help themselves. I burned myself out attempting to improve a team without really realizing, without quickly identifying who was contributing and who was not. What you said is very important. You cannot just bring in warm bodies to fill in the blanks and just to keep doing some of these activities that you don't want to deal with. You have to structure the right interviewing process. Even if you don't have, obviously, in a small company, you don't have a human resource department, which we didn't for many years. But I made a mistake of talking too much when I was hiring and training people without really learning about the people that I was hiring. I was more focused on selling my concept of getting people excited about my projects and our growth and our mission, rather than really learning, turning things around and really learning who I was bringing on board, engaging their ability to really understand what I was doing. So we need to be careful and listen more to those new members before we bring them on board.
Incredible advice. And through your listening, you'll be able to connect some dots if it is the right fit. And unfortunately, if it is the wrong fit too, because time, our most valuable asset, I've wasted quite a bit in the past on these endeavors. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Now, I love this question because it comes at the end and everyone gives me something different. If you could choose any entrepreneur, dead or alive, who you didn't meet yet, whose brain would you choose to pick?
There are so many. I mean, you can name a list. One business that I'm still very, very puzzled about is Amazon. I'll say Jeff Bezos is someone who I'm trying to figure out, because I have built infrastructures that are a minute, a 0.000% or fraction of the infrastructure that he built, and it took me more years. For example, I built a chain of coffee houses amongst many other businesses that and just building a group of 6-7 stores took me years, while in that same period of time he took over the world. I just can't fathom, I can't understand how a structure of that nature, with that concept, with that infrastructure, was built and developed in such a short period of time. It's beyond technology. It's beyond investment. It's beyond capital. It took something that I'm still very puzzled by. There are many, many businesses that I'm impressed, because I've tried. I'm not one of those brilliant entrepreneurs that has been able to get to that level where where I build a global brand. But I've tried in small attempts, small exercises, and I figure out all the complexities, the incredible amount of difficulties. So when you see those monsters, any of them that start going global, it's mind-boggling to me.
And it's always inspiring when you see those pictures, right? In the early days where he's got the Amazon and the paint can and he's sitting there in the garage, and a lot of good stories come from those garages. But where would you choose?
How did it happen so fast? I just don't know how it could have. So
just from an online bookstore. So everyone out there, if you have a dream of a company, you never know how it can expand if you surround yourself with the right people, like today's guest. Where would you choose to sit down with them if you could choose that too?
Oh, I'd love to meet see their headquarters. And I was at their original one at the lobby. It was monster. But I'm sure all of these high tech companies, I would love to visit their offices, from Facebook and Google, Apple, all of them. They have monster facilities. I would love to tour them one day if I could.
Hopefully the ideas are contagious in there as you're walking through those doors. We're getting hit with everything. Jose, what a show. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me across the country today. Where can we find you online? If you're watching the live stream or after it's done, I've got his website up there, joseberlanga.com. Anywhere else we could say hello?
No, my social media. Hopefully you'll be seeing more of me in the near future, where we have to adapt and start getting a little more involved in the social media world. So hopefully you'll be seeing us more.
I look forward to seeing all the great stuff you put out. And everyone, be sure to go check out his website, joseberlanga.com. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and this is That Entrepreneur Show. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to subscribe to stay current with our next entrepreneur coming your way. We are on all social media, all podcast platforms, so check us out where you love best. And with that, we're signing off. Florida over to Texas. Jose, thank you so much.
Thank you.